You know, 14 years ago when I used to work for John Bishop, I felt that we Indians had not represented our cuisine to the best of the ability of what we had. You know, our spices are so unique, they're so different, and I thought we had kind of tucked it under the carpet and had made it into just a buffet style restaurants, and I thought it was time for me to elevate the cuisine and the culture up. And so when I first opened the restaurant up, it was purely a goal of mine to increase the awareness of my cuisine and my culture. I think I was probably 7 or 10 years old when I knew that I wanted to be a chef. I always ate like that. The story of being a chef came actually from my grandfather, who was a severe alcoholic, and every night he would drink a bottle of whiskey and tell me every night the same story. And for the 15 years that I was in India, I never told him that he had told me the story the night before. He would sit me on his lap and he would tell me that when you grow up, I'd like you to open up a restaurant for me. And he wanted to be the bartender because the idea was that he could drink for free, because in the Indian culture I would never charge my grandfather for alcohol. And he would always say the same thing. And for 15 years, so ever since as a young child, I had this in my mind that I want to open up a restaurant for my grandfather. I studied in Austria. I was 19 when I left home, went to Europe to study, went to Salzburg and study and got my chef's training from there. And then I worked at really high-end restaurants like Bishop's and Raid Steagall. Before that, decided to open my own restaurant up. I wanted everybody to be equal. It was a principle of mine that I believe that we are all equal after all, and it doesn't matter how much money you have and how popular you are. You should be given the same respect and treatment as anybody else does. So the no reservation was purely to have an egalitarian way of living. In any Indian hospitality, if you go to anybody's house in India, the first thing we offer you is a cup of tea and something savory. So the idea of serving a cup of tea and a little bit savory was that as if you come to my house and I'm going to take care of you for the evening. I've never run Vij's or Rangoli as a restaurant. I've always run it as you come to my house and I'm going to take care of you. The idea was that you cannot come to Vij's every day. You cannot go out to eat every day. But you still want to have good, delicious food. Not take out like from pizza boxes style or in boxes. More like that people can enjoy the homemade food. It would be no different that if your mother made a nice Jewish soup and gave it to you and said, keep it in your freezer, and the time comes and you open it up and you serve it. There are no preservatives in it. The idea is that you are able to enjoy fresh food at home. And the second thing is, if you cook and you eat food like that, it's like making pasta or making a dish called pasta. You don't really make pasta, but the fact that you boiled it makes you feel as if you did something with it. So the second goal the goal of mine the goal of mine to say that I wanted people to be not intimidated by the spices is what the same goal I've had, that those bags are like you can add a little extra chili if you want, you can add a little bit of this to it, and then you can feel comfortable that, oh, I'm not that scared of this cuisine. Because it is a foreign cuisine, a lot of people don't know anything about it, and so for people to be able to come and take it home and enjoy it was the idea for the bags. Vij's, the one that is on Randall Street, will eventually move to that location. Vij's, where it is right now, I'll come up with a new concept. I already have a concept in my mind. So Rangoli stays where it is. Vij's moves to the bigger location, and the Vij's, where it is right now, will come up with a new concept of Indian food. Actually, Miru, my wife, is the one who did the hard work in writing the cookbook. I do not want to take the credit for it, and she is also writing the second cookbook. We just put in a contract for it, and she is the one who's writing the cookbook for the restaurant. You know, it's like you asking me what kind of music do I like after I listen to Indian. I just like music, everything. I mean, I like Japanese and I like Korean. There's not a single cuisine in this world that I do not like. I'm a big food fan. I enjoy different variations. I would never say I like Chinese better than the Japanese or the Vietnamese better than anything else, or French. I just think any food that's made with love and passion is tasty, and that's all that matters. I could have a piece of bread with little jam on top of it, but if I know that the jam is, you know, picked by hand-picked berries and the bread was baked by a baker that's put a lot of love in it, I'm fine. Usually by the time I'm finished in the evening, I'm pretty exhausted. I definitely have no curry at all because I'm curried out by that time. So I usually would have just a salad and little crackers, a little cheese, and a couple of glasses of wine. I enjoy, to calm down, I always enjoy a couple of glasses of wine and something small to eat, a little salad. Because we usually eat so late, around 11 o'clock at night, it's really not good for you, and I put on a little weight because of that, and now I'm trying to lose that weight. Two things, well, more than two things. One is that people can see what my passion is, where I come from, my spices, my where the style of cooking, and creating different things all the time. You're creating different music all the time. You know, the cinnamon, the cloves, the ginger, the spices are all the same. But to create new different dishes is what fascinates me the most. Is like being in the kitchen and coming up with the new ideas, presentation-wise, food-wise. Those are the two things that I really do absolutely love about the food, or being a chef. You know, I've traveled quite extensively. I definitely think, you know, New York does a great job, San Francisco does a great job. I'm going to India in November again for a 2-week culinary trip, and I'm going to go to different places. I like everything because no one city has 100% of everything. It's not like New York has all the best of everything. Portland does a great job. Seattle does a great job. Even if I went to Nunavut, I would love the style of cooking that's being done there because it's so different, and I love to try it. The approach that I always have when I go to the restaurants is I don't try to eat only at fancy restaurants. I like to eat street food sometimes. I like to just eat at local restaurants. What I do not do is I do not eat out at chained restaurants. Like I'll never eat out at McDonald's or Subways or anything else like that. No disrespect to them. There's a huge market for them. That's what they do, and that's their style. But I do eat out at Cactus Club, for example, because my kids love Cactus Club, and they've done a great job of elevating the cuisine a little bit higher. You know, with Rob Feeney coming into the place. So for me, I would eat out at every place. As long as the love and the passion is there and I can feel it, I'm part of it.
Okay, so
if I was to pick a BC white, BC red, for example, I would probably pick the Mission Hills Quatrain right now, which is a Bordeaux blend of Cab Merlot and Cab Franc. Traditionally, Indians have never had wine with the food. So what we need to do here, and we need to understand, is that don't try to expect that this is a perfect match made in heaven. The Italians have done it because they grow that kind of wine. Right. The French have done it because that's what they do. Indians have never done it. If traditionally you were supposed to drink anything with Indian food, you should drink water, because that's the most neutral thing to go with it. But because we live in North America, I always say, don't try to find the nuances there to say, oh, cinnamon here, because there are too many spices out there. What you do need to do is almost think like as if you're going on a date. You know, have fun at it. Don't try to expect this is marriage made in heaven. It ain't.